boy, back at it another day, bright and early, hopefully for some of you. Should be good. Much fun and bacon to be had. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening. This is DSP News, the unreliable ones. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the newsroom and welcome to the Galtopia News Network, your unreliable source for DSP News. This is the Snort Report, brought to you by SnortBucks Coffee Company, the best beverage company. Let's go. Ladies and gentlemen, how you guys doing? Hopefully you guys are doing well. Have two videos that are going to make up our broadcast. It's been a good day. It's been a good week, actually. It's been pretty good. That's all I gotta say. Hope it's been good for you guys as well. Trying to keep this trend going, getting a lot of stuff done, and whatnot. So let's not hold off on the on the situation at hand and get right into it. Ladies and gentlemen, there'll be two videos that'll make up our broadcast, both of them brought to us by Burnell, DSP. First video, some highlights of the boring retrospective event, and no mods, dude. This is from July 2nd of 2020, our current year of gout, and the second and last video to round out our broadcast. Excuse me. Let's see. Also brought to us by Burnell, DSP. Drama Queen strikes again. Disgusting allegations against the FGC. Also from July 2nd of 2020. Ladies and gentlemen, I think you guys have already seen my video going over Phil talking about the FGC itself and some of the bullshit that entailed. That was a little while ago, so I've been kind of keeping up with it, and there's all kinds of nonsense coming out now. Hungrybox has apparently admitted to a particular situation. Don't know. If you guys don't know who Hungrybox is, he's considered one of like the 4 or 5 kings over there. That's a thing. There's a couple other people in the FGC that are kind of wilding out over some stuff. It looks like Filipino champ, who already got banned for a year anyway, or it's not indefinite, it's like a year, I think. Filipino champ and what's Chris G, I guess, are starting a podcast with each other. I don't know if it's a one-off or whatever the case may be, but they're doing that because, you know, Chris G kind of got screwed out of his situation with Evil Geniuses. It's some wild shit, man. Some wild shit going on in the FGC right now, in esports in general. Still no word on Dr. Disrespect yet. It's a wild time. Apparently, excuse me, as I'm saying this, there are some people that are actually really starting to get concerned about the Dr. Disrespect thing and the lack of information coming out. So, you know, now they're thinking, there's whispers, I should say. There's whispers of a purge, of a big purge coming to Twitch. Now, this is all rumor, so let me go ahead and specify that it's not exactly a Theo theory. It's not a hypothetical pignosis. It's just a rumor that people think that there's a purge coming down on Twitch. Whether there is or not, who could say? I think certain people should have a reason to be scared, but who could say? When you think about what Alinity pulled the other day, or a couple days ago, I should say, at the time that I'm recording this, with her little crying segment and so on and so forth, it makes you wonder, maybe someone heard, someone who's watching her, or her watching her ass, I should say, may have laid out the circumstances that, hey, there might be a purge. You may want to do this to drum up, public sympathy against you, and maybe that'll try to shield you or whatnot. Like I said, that's all just a rumor. Who could say anything about anything? But we're in a kind of scary time right now. You know what I'm saying? COVID-19 is coming back in a big way. There's a lot of issues. A lot of stuff going on right now. But anyway, enough of that. Let's get to the funnies, because that's why you guys are here. And hopefully I can help you guys get through your day, at least a little bit, as best as possible. Alright guys, so ladies and gentlemen, this is the Snort Report. And this is DSP News, always late, never breaking, unreliable coverage that you can't count on. At GTG Network and Productions. You guys all know the slogan. I don't smell no bacon cooking. We're about to get on that. And while that's going on, as you guys know, or you might not know, 20% off everything over here at SnortBucks today, so that's a thing and whatnot. And don't forget your SnortBucks punch cards, because that is important. And it's time, ladies and gentlemen. It's time to watch me work.
Warn everyone. Warning. What you may see right now is going to be absolutely disgusting. Sound good?
Alright, sounds good to me.
But is it really though, Cat? Really? Ladies and gentlemen, we're here with the first video that will start off our broadcast, brought to us by Burnell DSP. Some highlights of the boring retrospective event. And no mods, dude. This is from July 2nd of 2020, our current year of gout. I'm sorry, it's so funny to say it, because it's been so long since I've said that. But our current year of gout. Let's get it.
It was funny, it was right in my front closet, where I thought it was. It was, oh my god, there it is, for the first time, guys. There it is. Well, I'm sorry, guys, I just couldn't find the I couldn't find the vest. Alright, I don't know where it was. It was right there in the closet. It was sitting right there in the closet. I was like, oh my god, I seriously haven't looked at that thing since I moved here. I've never worn this. It's in the closet.
I like how he's not amused by his own shitty ass joke. I found that to be actually pretty funny.
3 of me on screen at once. Oh my god. That's pretty funny. It was pretty funny.
Yeah, it's probably a good thing he's not having kids, because, ladies and gentlemen, this is kind of what the family tree is going to look like. I kind of feel more bad for the descendants than anything else.
To see 3 of me on screen at once. It's actually disturbing, incredibly disturbing. I think I'm gonna have nightmares tonight now.
Lion Maker to the dollar saying, why is someone saying they're a pig considered a troll? Because that's a meme. It's a Detractor meme. A lot of things are associated with a pig. You know, being greedy, being fat, being disgusting, you know, all negative associations, right? What positive associations are really associated with being related to a pig? Not many.
Pork tenderloin, pork chops, bacon. Let's not forget bacon. Pork rinds. Ham, I mean,
So, that's kind of why. It's common sense.
Sit the hell down and put the hat on, asshole. Stop fucking bullshitting around. We wanna fucking see this. So, put the stupid hat on, dick. I said I would do it. I did it, goddammit. So there you go.
Put the stupid hat on? Damn, Phil. Didn't you pay good money for that? On your, like, trip through Tennessee or some shit? I mean, then again, he's never washed that. He's never washed that hat, so keep that in mind.
So it was March 9th, 2020. Was the first day. This was the official start of the vest streak, March 9th. Today is July 1st, and the vest streak continues. We're up to 161 and counting. Like I said, if we double the tips goal today, I'll count it as 162. Because technically that's the same amount that I would have raised within 2 streams during a day. So, that's pretty crazy. That's been, so March, April, May, June. That's been almost 4 straight months of consistent support with you guys. Thank you.
For the money dummies. Because that's exactly what you fucking are. A bunch of fucking empty-headed idiots who paid me money to get absolutely nothing out of it. Thanks.
The irony that comes out of that is that he really believes this vest streak thing's gonna last forever. That's the really crazy part of all of it. But there you go, ladies and gentlemen. That's the magic date, March 9th.
Wow.
What I need to do this month, sadly, I need to pay a ton of money to my lawyer to go back to the federal government when they reopen for tax processing in, like, say, mid to late July and say, alright, here's what happened. The bankruptcy happened. The stupid payment plan canceled or whatever. But we need Phil to get back on it. He doesn't want to have these back taxes looming over his head. He doesn't want to have insane penalties and shit. So basically, you know, your help the last few months is allowing me to now afford to pay this lawyer to do this work up front. What I'm hoping is that the government doesn't say, oh, you owe us a ton of money before we'll even put you on a payment plan, in which case I'm going to tell them, I don't have it. You know, I've done this before. I've done all these marathon events and things to try to raise funds to get on the payment plan last year. I get on it, and then I declare bankruptcy, and it cancels the fucking plan, which I didn't know was going to happen. And now I'm in a situation where I got to go through all the work and pay for it again. It's like, this is ridiculous. So, I'm just going to tell them, I don't have it. Whatever you think you need to do, you know.
How the fuck did you not know that? Didn't you talk to your bankruptcy attorney and let her know what your current situation was? And weren't you also talking to your tax guy around the same time? What? Like, how did you not know it was going to overlap and then cancel one out? I'm going to think about that further.
Whether it's put a lien on my goddamn house or whatever, but what I'm hoping is, what they're going to say is, okay, let's just get you back on the plan. Maybe the plan's going to increase now because you didn't pay all your taxes last year as well, but the plan will get back on a plan that's reasonable and I can afford it, and then everything will be good moving forward, okay?
Sure.
I mean, I guess more than likely they'll do that anyway because at least they'll get their money out of them. You know what I'm saying? And now, but here's another thing too. Because his bankruptcy went through, there is no more excuses. So he really shouldn't have... they don't have to put him on like some crazy long payment plan for that now. Because now one of the largest hindrance to his income is now taken care of. So now if they decide to ramp up exactly how much he owes each and every month, he can't sit there and say, guys, I don't have that money. The fuck you don't. What exactly is holding you back now? You're not, yeah, you're in foreclosure, but you're not paying anything on that. You're not paying the property tax. You're not paying the actual mortgage itself, and you're not paying the any insurance or anything like that. So what's holding you back there? You see what I'm saying? Like, he doesn't realize that this payment plan situation is not going to be as like Cinderella-like as he had it the first time. It's not going to be easy. You know what I'm saying? They're not even gonna lube him up. It's gonna look like that. It's gonna look like that Abby scene all over again. He gonna take it, and he's gonna have no real reason why he can't pay this money back. He's really not, because realistically, for the amount of money that he makes anyway, he shouldn't need to be on a payment plan, or he shouldn't need to be on a long-term one. You know what I'm saying? He's gonna have to pay up an extra 1,000, maybe even an extra 2,000 a month. Until he gets caught up, and that should be, what, 6 months, 8 months? If that? Whatever it was that he was spending on credit cards, or to make credit card payments, I should say, and to pay and money that he was putting down on the condo in Connecticut should immediately get deferred over. And I would assume somebody over there with the federal government will look at it the same way. But we'll see. And also, you guys see how the focus is still only on the federal tax. He's not saying anything about state and business occupation. He only brings that up when he really needs it. At least so it seems. Dspnews?
It's going to be a try. Like, this is like the last hurdle for me. It really is. This hurdle this month is the last hurdle for me. Once I get past this, and I'm okay, every month I'm paying the taxes I owe for this year. I'm paying the back tax plan, right? I'll be good.
Silver-tongued talker, right? Oh, I'm just going to say it one way, and hopefully you'll believe it, even though it's not the truth.
And another thing, too, is why won't he just pay them their money? Just pay them. He knows he can pull a large amount, like, relatively quickly, right? To all of our dismay. Just pay these people off and be done with it. Why do you want to keep being put on a payment plan? You're not going to be... Do you think you're going to be able to weasel out of this in 6 months? Are you going to try to tell the federal government in another year that you're destitute? He's making more problems for himself, and he's just doing it in a different way. But semantics, right?
And that's literally what's happening here. The guy's a liar. The guy's a fucking blatant liar and lying to everyone.
Like, I'll now be able to say, here's my budget for what I pay every month. Maybe I'll be able to say, I have extra money. I can save some money. Have savings again for the first time since I moved here 6 years ago. Or, oh my god, I can actually improve some stuff. I told you guys some of my plans. What I want to do is...
That's bullshit, too, because... Because before he brought this tax situation up to us in 2017, he used to have the money for his taxes each and every year. And he knows when he was supposed to pay his federal, and he would have it paid for. He used to bitch and complain about it, but he always had that money put aside for it. Now all of a sudden he's acting like it's a struggle just to get any money up for anything? What sense does that make? And he tried to say this in 2018 that, oh, because of the state and business occupation tax, I can't cover my federal now. But his state and business occupation tax is less than what his federal is. And if nothing else, all he would have to do is beg harder. And how is it that he still has time once a week to go out and eat out 3 times a day and do all that? Well, he's not eating out cat, but you know what I mean. Eating out 3 times a day and doing all that extra shit and whatnot, but yet he doesn't have money to get his taxes squared up or his back taxes. Like, it doesn't make any sense. And then he's trying to propagate this bullshit where, oh, if everything works out, I can now start upgrading my setup. I can do a green screen. I can do all this bullshit. Asshole, there's a green screen downstairs in the garage that's been there for X amount of years. And he swears the guy that's all broken, it's all torn up, but he won't go out there and show us that, which means there's probably nothing wrong with it. What he has seen is other streamers and other YouTubers with a lot nicer, a lot more convenient, a lot more compact green screens, and he wants that. Oh, also he wants a new gamer chair too. He doesn't want that love seat anymore. He wants to get rid of that. We don't need that no more. You know, he's literally trying to make himself a full-blown streamer, which I thought he called them shills and whores and whatnot. And they only do it for money and not for the love of the game. Why would he want to be one of them if that's what his thought process is? Interesting. Also, he's talking about wanting to get a new laptop and a new desktop too, which he could have done that a long ass time ago. He's getting what, $17,000 off these idiots? You're telling me you couldn't put $4,000 aside for all of that? You can get a really nice desktop and a really nice laptop for that. That's still actually over what you need, really. But you know, Phil's a whore, so it is what it is. Keep that in mind.
Get rid of this love seat that's old and worn out. It's a piece of shit. Okay? And in place of that, use another chair. Maybe I have a brown chair that I used to have back in Connecticut. I can maybe see if it fits there. Or if not, get another chair. Maybe actually set up a green screen. It's a new thing that these hipster streamers are doing. They're putting a green screen behind them. Pretty cool. They're getting rid of the backgrounds. And they're just, you know, that's pretty unique. I don't think anyone else is doing that. So
you hear the disdain he has? This is supposed to be sarcasm, but the disdain that's in his voice is very, very present. And he can't really fight it either. He's trying to pass this off as if it's a joke, but it don't come across as being funny. It sounds like when he had to make that reluctant change to direct capture and to start streaming. I'm hearing the same type of disdain and animosity as I heard back then with that.
I want to be at the forefront of technology, and I want to be one of the first people to adopt a green screen setup on my streams. We're going to break ground here. Okay?
Mark McCauley says, hint, hint. Dude, no hint, hint. I'm outright telling you, I really would appreciate some help via tipping. That's not a hint. That's saying, if you can, please help, because it really sucked earlier today. It was so goddamn slow.
So, that's some of the things I'd like to do this year. Just get rid of that, which I have to pay for. I have to pay for someone to get rid of that shit. And, you know, then get a new chair, maybe get a green screen.
He has to, oh, that's right. He can't lift that. And Kat Kat definitely can't lift that by herself. So he has to actually pay for people to come into his home and move that downstairs. And then dispose of it too. Oh, I didn't think about that. Because this cuck can't even get him and his wife can't even get that downstairs. Well, if he could carry his weight, then I trust that Kat can at least hold up her end of that. But they can't even carry that downstairs by themselves. Oh shit, I forgot all about that. But now that I think about it, ladies and gentlemen, this opens up a whole new scheme. Watch me work. So, Phil says that he does have that old chair in that nook. The one that he used to sit down on and do his channel updates back when he was in Connecticut. That chair is there. It kind of it moves side to side, all that shit. So that chair does exist. Or Phil could just find a much smaller love seat. You know what I'm saying? That could go right there. And I would assume on their days off when they go out looking at different stuff and doing all that window shopping, he probably has seen something that he has his eye on. He just needs the space for it, and he needs a little bit of financial cushioning to go with it. And if he can make that happen, then that might be the scheme. That might be the play. Because in actuality, that's the reason why he says he can't use his green screen now. Because the love seat's too big to put behind it. And then the soundproofing. Even though the soundproofing has nothing to do with it, he's just a retard. So in actuality, if he could get a smaller love seat, because Phil's not going to want to use that chair to nook. He's going to want something nice and new. Because new equates to nice. He might be looking at getting himself a smaller love seat. You know what I'm saying? That might be what he does. Or he goes full boomer and goes and gets himself like a lazy boy or something. Which actually be a pretty good look, actually. Because he kind of needs the chair to kind of recline him, but he'll fall asleep more often on it. Might be kind of funny. I mean, his content's already kind of like boring anyway, so I guess why wouldn't it? Why wouldn't he, I should say, go that route? Interesting. Oh, and Phil's never going to give up WWE champions. Ever. He's still fishing to try to get into a gill. Which is pathetic, by the way. Like, the detractors have you lock, stock, and trade. Instead of Phil not even letting, because he can't stop us, but just having us joke and ridicule him for that bullshit, he decided to hide it. Now, granted, he needed to hide it from the bankruptcy situation. Theoretically, he needs to keep hiding it for his taxes. But if he had just shut the fuck up and came out and said it, and we would have clowned him, he could have been in whatever gill he wanted, and those people probably would have gotten ridiculed too a little bit. But it is what it is. Instead, he decided to go ahead and think he's so goddamn smart, which he really wasn't, and try to do everything in a sneaking, conniving sort of way, that he ain't fucked himself and most of those people in that game all around. His name is starting to become, as it is on YouTube and on Twitch, it's starting to become infamous amongst that WWE champions. He literally has to find people who just don't know who he is so he can interact with them. Because all the people who've currently interacted with him up to this point, they know not to do that anymore. He's literally fucking over an entire community, despite the fact that for whatever reason, he was able to get the ear of someone in administration or someone who, he has the ear of somebody, whether of a developer or somebody in administration in some way, to go ahead and try to push the trolls away from him a little bit. But it still don't matter because no one really wants to pick him up. Because word spreads in that community on what kind of individual he is, and maybe not really what kind of individual he is, more to the trouble that comes with him. He has way too much baggage. Yikes. Something to think about, though.
Set up that stuff, and maybe I'd like to do by the end of the year. I got to get through this month of July. And I'm actually, as much as I'm dreading getting bad news, because my life has been a series of ups and downs like this, especially since I've been on YouTube. High, then a low, then a high, then a low. That's how my life's been, like this. Right now, these past few months have been great. Things went really, even though people tried to ruin my fucking life and make it so that I couldn't get my bankruptcy ruling and all this shit, I got it. And then this positivity over the last, 3 to 4 months, hitting the best streak every day, and getting myself out of the rut that I was in. I'm now on a high. Admittedly, I'm on a high. My streams are great. Everyone's having so much positivity and having a good time. My brain is now programmed to think that a low is coming, and I hate that.
It is going to come. Because as soon as Phil thinks he's riding high is when he starts when he starts shitting on people. Is when he starts to get arrogant about shit. And then everything falls apart. The reason why good things don't last for Phil, or the reason why good things don't happen in DSP, or the reason why he can't have the opportunity, or the reason why Darkside Phil can't have the opportunities of everybody else, is because of him. He's consistently and constantly in his own way. Habitually. And he can't get over himself, if that makes sense, right? Like, he can't look past himself. And for that, he suffers. And because of that is one of the reasons why he fails. So he wants to sit there and make it sound like it's all these outside elements that are fucking him over and hurting him and doing this. He's hurt himself. As I've said, Darkside Phil, DSP, Dark Geppetto is his greatest detractor. He is his greatest hindrance. It's him. It's nobody else. It's not Tevin. It's not Fred Fox and SOK. It's not anybody. It's him. It's always been him. He wants to be looked at. He wants to be admired. He wants to be admired. He wants to be looked at as someone that's influential. He wants to be looked at as someone to be remembered. And because of these things, these are just a few things, by the way, but because of these things, he can't help but to let his ego get the best of him. And because of that, everything falls apart. And instead of looking at, okay, what was the root cause of why everything fell apart? It's the people who are laughing at me, and it's the people who ridicule me, and it's the people who are laughing, who are jovial, if you will, at my downfall are the reasons why I'm fucked up. It had nothing to do with him. It was everybody else. And because he lives by this type of notion is the reason why he gets fucked up. I'll give you a quote. I'm not sure if it's an exact quote, but a quote from an FGC book that I recently stumbled upon. I'm hoping to order it if it's available. That was actually written by a former pro fighting game player that Phil had played a few times and got beaten up by, where it gives the definition of what a scrub is. A scrub is an individual who has this isn't an exact quote, but I'll paraphrase it. A scrub is an individual who has an inability to adapt towards a situation. And because of that, this is getting into the more extreme, okay? Like, a scrub is generally anybody who's new. But if you want to if you want to dig even further, a scrub is someone who is not willing to learn what needs to be learned to get good. They have so many excuses and they have so many reasons on why or what's working against them to be good that they never become good, and they end up hindering their own growth. I guess that is the quote. Fuck. But for Phil, it applies in so many ways. He's taken that embodiment of a scrub and manifested as something in real life. Every excuse Phil gives about everything, why his life is fucked up, why his gaming ability is fucked up, why everything about everything, is the inability of a person to learn from their own mistakes, to, as you guys know over here, survive, adapt, and overcome. There has to be a reason for all of his faults, and he has no qualms, he has no pride, he has no honor in anything, and so he'll spew it out to gain that little bit of sympathy. He is his biggest hindrance, as I said. He is his greatest detractor, because he's constantly holding himself back. He's looking at all the roadblocks in front of him instead of seeing what's beyond that. And it's just like the statement that I've kept making over the years about how he can't see past his own fist or his own hoof. You know what I mean? Because he really can't. He's too scared to. The journey bothers him. You know what I'm saying? So let me go ahead and collect whatever trinkets I can, right? Or let me tell you about all these thorn bushes that are in front of me now that I'm too scared to go over, or I'm too scared to go around and whatnot. And that's what's holding me back, instead of taking that risk and making that leap. And the whole time Phil Burnell has been online, he never took a risk. He did everything the easy way. And he got punished for it multiple times. And what did he do? Did he really learn anything from those things? No. He made the same mistake. He just made it in different ways. That's what it comes down to. And the idiots that follow him, most of them can't see that. And I get it. It comes across as overly condescending to see all that. And Phil fills your head with all this bullshit and whatnot, with all his repetitive speech, and I can say that because I'm kind of repetitive, that it just keeps you mind fucked. And it almost becomes too much of a struggle to fight against him. That's why Snort Burnell labeled it pignosis, because that's what it is. You literally have to fight with yourself to break it. And for some people, the people that Phil is looking for, it's too hard to do that. That's why Swag is back over there now, like a bitch, because he ain't man enough to go off somewhere else and start something new. I'm known in this community. I'm known for doing this. Why should I leave it? Yeah, even though the guy that I'm supporting doesn't think shit about me, and I could die tomorrow, and he wouldn't give a flying fuck, or maybe he would for a day, so he can get sympathy bucks out of everybody else, and then, oh, Swag is who? I ain't told you, you have no value to him. You, Seidella, or Vincent, or whatever the fuck he's choosing to go by, none of you guys mean not a goddamn thing. But just like I told my fellow detractors, eventually y'all are going to go back. And everybody wants to, and fuck it, I'll do it now. I don't bring up Vincent's name. Vincent and Seidella, by the way. And whatnot. I don't bring up Vince's name, but please believe, for all y'all who want to keep bigging upping him and showing all this growth or whatever, do what you got to do. I'm not hating on that. I'm not mad at that at all. Don't be surprised when he go back. Don't be surprised when the King of Snorts hits him up behind the scenes, and then he's right back underfoot like a good lapdog, as he always was, as he always will be. Because it seems to happen to a lot of them cats. Straight puss. They get embarrassed, they get shitted on, they leave for a little while if they're brave enough to do that, if they're not kicked out, and then eventually they make their way back. I'm not saying, now, like I said, if Vincent really turns over a new leaf or whatever the bullshit is, good for him. It won't last. And he knows it just as well as I know it. He ain't been in the trenches with Phil forever. Damn near. You don't just break ranks or get expelled out and then all of a sudden realize, you know what, I have more self-worth than that. Because if that was the case, he'd have left sooner. We'll see if he proves me wrong. I hope he does. But he knows just as well as I do that eventually he's going to go back. Just like Swaggins. Because that's what the weak do. That's what the weak do. Time will tell and whatnot. And like I said, I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong. But history is a great teacher if you're one to listen. So it is what it is. And I'm not going to argue with him about it because I already argue with Milf and Cookies about that shit all the time. They both know that eventually he going back. Like I said, we'll see.
Because I don't want that. I want to feel like everything's going to keep being positive. You know, I do. But that's how my life has been for the last, 6, 7, 8 years, is whenever something good happens, something negative has to come to negate it and take it away. 3 years ago, I was in a good financial position, and then I found out that I owed all these back taxes to the state.
No one took it away. First off, 3 years ago, fuck you. First off, no one took it away. You let it go or you threw it away. 3 years ago, you weren't in a good position. Fucking Panda ain't left your bitch ass. You ain't sat there and accused the man of lying about his brother dying and whatnot to make yourself feel better because you were a lazy fuck who couldn't cook his own meals. Just in case you guys don't know what I'm talking about, that's the war dog leader situation. Phil basically, fuck it, I'll do it. I'm good for that. Quick backstory. So, Panda leaves Phil, right? Because Phil ain't go ahead and put Panda's medical history out there and shit, and her mental state. She picks up and bounces. A month or two later, he's gone through this depression segment. He drinking. We all knew it. But he said he was just sick. And he's sick, but he was drinking. He was hitting that Tanqueray too hard. And if you ain't man enough to hold your alcohol, maybe you shouldn't drink. But whatever. Semantics. It's been a couple months without Panda, cooking his meals, cleaning up the house, making everything tidy and easy, and whatnot. He was talking all that bullshit about, oh, I'm living this bachelor life now, and I can make my own schedule, this, that, and the third. He didn't realize, even though I did, even though a lot of detractors did, honestly, he didn't realize exactly how much codependency he had on Panda to do everything. He wanted that bitch to work. She's not a bitch, but you know what I mean. He wanted that bitch to work. He wanted her to come home and cook dinner, to go ahead and do his laundry, keep the house all squared up and everything. He wanted all that from her. And he was taking a cut of her money. He wanted all that. And as soon as she gone, he fell apart. Goddamn mess. Anyway, he's on stream one night talking about, well, I didn't show up the day before because, I just kind of, I was really out of my mind and I got all the stress going on and I don't have people to cook me meals anymore. I used to have someone and whatnot downstairs who would make me these delicious, healthy meals. And I don't have that anymore. And now I got to figure out how to cook for myself now. And I only have 3 hours in between my streams. How am I supposed to be able to cook an elaborate meal for myself, clean up, and be back on stream? Quote me on that. I'm just going through trouble. What? What are the leaders saying? What? That happened to you, and I could make cheese and toast, or I could make some scrambled eggs or whatever. Hey, this isn't about you, okay? This is about me. This is about me, okay? People ask me why I wasn't on stream, or I've been on stream late, and I'm telling them what's what, okay? This is none of your business. You don't worry about what the fuck I do. The people who ask, I'm telling them. You know what? For the night, and we don't even know if what you're saying is true, War Dog Leader, but you know what? For the night, you can be the king of suffering. You can have that. You know what I'm saying? And you can take that onto your own streams. But people came here to hear what was wrong with me. That's what this piece of shit said to another man who lost a relative. Not even lost a relative. Lost a relative, yes, but lost his brother. This is what Phil Burnell said to another man. And then took the next 3 or 4 days downplaying it, acting like we don't even know if he's telling the truth. Well, I didn't mean it that way, or these idiots are taking everything out of context and made me look bad. Because Dark Side Phil, DSP, Phil Burnell, Dark Geppetto couldn't figure out to make a meal for himself. That's the reason why Phil likes his turkey burgers. Because when Panda left his bitch ass, that's pretty much all his dumb ass could make. And frozen fajitas. And maybe some stir fry. Frozen stir fry, by the way. So that's what that came down to. That was 2017. He said 2017 was a good year for him. Well, we've already debunked that. He got dropped from... Matter of fact, let's go ahead and establish a timeline, shall we? Income's not looking very good. Ended up having to go back to Twitch in late 2016. 2017 gets dropped from Machinima. Panda leaves him. Has a situation with War Dog Leader, which really fucked him up, and whatnot. Then the tax situation. But while the tax situation was going on, he was actually talking to another man's woman, and whatnot, trying to get her to move in with him. How was 2017 a good year? How was late? Let's be precise about this a little bit. How was late 2016 to early 2017 a good year for Phil when he had all of that nonsense happen to him? Had to go back to Twitch, which he said it was a site strictly for begging. It's not for real gamers. End up losing his longtime she was a fiance at the time, but lost his longtime girlfriend / fiance. Ends up getting into it with a guy online and having the nerve to say you're lying about your brother dying, complaining about how he couldn't make healthy meals for himself, and that's why he couldn't show up on stream, and was heavily drinking and whatnot because he couldn't get to sleep at night, let alone the what's it called, the hangover medication he was taking, which probably was fucking with him too. And then he was stealing another man's woman, or he was trying to convince another man's woman to leave to be with him. How was 2017 going well for him before he found out he owed back state and business occupation tax? Don't worry, I'll wait.
Washington, because I've been doing my taxes wrong because my old tax attorney from Connecticut screwed me over. You know, that's what I mean. You see what I mean? Very frustrating. Very, very frustrating. And I want to believe the positive. I want to believe that all the support you guys have given me over the last few months have got me to a positive point. This month, I'll pay my tax attorney. He'll work with the government. Back tax plan established. It's reasonable. I can afford it. And now I can move forward positively for the rest of the year and not have to worry about that. But I don't know. Like, I'm actually skeptical that something's going to, you know, screw me over. For what I'm to understand, worst case scenario isn't that bad. Like, a lien on my house wouldn't be the worst possible thing, but I'm just waiting for something else. You know, again, I don't like being cynical. I don't like focusing on negative shit. I want to be a positive person in my life moving forward.
You want to be a positive person, yet you're known for being a negative piece of shit. The irony in that.
So much shit has happened to me that I just feel something's gonna happen. You know, you always get that really fucking stupid feeling.
Maybe I'm paranoid by nature.
I think what it's gonna be, I need to really focus on the positive for a long period of time and just have positive things happen to me for a period of time before I can start believing it again. But
see, you're too much of a negative piece of shit for that to happen. And yet again, you're gonna end up, as Tevin said, you're gonna end up going out of your way to fuck up a good thing for yourself. You always have done that. You always will. You're never gonna change. I don't know why. If this is supposed to be self-imposed pignosis or pig psychosis, it's not very good. Or pig hypnosis, if you will. This is definitely not gonna work. This is horrible. This is horrible. You got a delusional individual trying to convince himself of something that is outside of his grasp of reality. All he knows is negativity. This is all he puts out. This is all he portrays. But he wants good things to happen to him. Okay.
Year has been great. So thank you guys. I mean, we're June. This year's been great for me and my content, and personally behind the scenes, things are going good. So thank you guys for all of that and continuing that support. I really do appreciate it. Okay?
I don't kiss ass. You guys know that. I do not kiss ass.
Lumber Chop Man tipped me $20 that I spaced on my taxes last year. Big mistake. Yeah, it's a big mistake. The government ain't no joke. They want their money. And I was fine. I went through the ropes last year to qualify for a tax plan. I was fine, and then the bankruptcy fucked it up on me. I had no idea that was going to happen. I didn't want my tax plan to be canceled on me, but it got canceled. They stopped taking my money. I was like, what the fuck? And I panicked.
What? They stopped taking his money. I mean, the way he described it initially, they just stopped taking my money. So wait a second. What happened to the money that you were trying to send them then, and they wouldn't accept? Where did you put that money then? Think about that real close. Because when he first described the situation, I was like, well, you couldn't be too surprised that there was going to be some type of overlap. But now he's like, yeah, me filing for bankruptcy fucked up my payment plan with the federal government to the point where they just stopped taking my money. So that doesn't sound altogether right. But then what did you do with the money that you were trying to send them for your where's your tax payments at then? Where's that money, I should say? You were trying to send them for your tax payments. Unless it has something to do with those credit cards from his bankruptcy. Follow me on this. This is not exactly a Theo theory, but follow me on this. Phil has said in the past that he uses his credit cards to pay his taxes. He's done that for a number of years. You can ask Tevin, you can ask Theo, you can ask a bunch of detractors, and they'll tell you this because that's something that's when I first heard it, I thought it was the dumbest thing I'd ever heard. If so, then that means our boy here was pulling some type of monkey business on them taxes. But here's the thing. By the time the bankruptcy thing came about, he wouldn't have been able to use his credit cards anymore. Yet again, what happened to the tax money he was trying to send them that they wouldn't accept? Where is that money at? Where is that mystery money at? Interesting. Well, Scrappy, it's time to get back on the case.
Then I actually paid an extra month, and my tax guy was like, no, there's no point. The agreement doesn't even exist. So, don't even bother keep paying until the summer when we get the next plan set up. I'm like, okay.
Fuck the IRS.
Oh my god.
Wait, so his tax guy is like, hey, the money that you were going to send for your tax payment doesn't exist, so stop sending that, and we'll go ahead and get you on another tax plan later. So yet again, where is that money that he should have been sending for his tax payments? Where is that money at? That's the first thing. Secondly, if he gets hit with any type of penalties as he's trying to apply for the new tax plan, can't he put that on his tax attorney or tax lawyer or whatever the fuck Phil calls him and says, hey, I was advised not to make this payment because my tax attorney or my tax lawyer or whatever told me that the agreement didn't exist anymore. So now we got two questions. Where's the money that he was trying to send for his tax payments, and his tax attorney told him not to send it? Where's that money at? That apparently he had in hoof, and why don't he just tell the government that, hey, the reason why I stopped making payments was because of my bankruptcy, but also because my tax attorney told me to stop making payments to you, because he said that you guys already abolished the agreement we already had. So that sounds completely fucked. I need to hear all that raw before that sounds completely fucked.
Oh, this is painful to watch. It's the game, not my gameplay. The game sucks. Like, what the fuck is this? This is not Mega Man. This is nothing like Mega Man. The series went in a completely wrong direction. I'm not having any fun whatsoever. This fucking sucks. I quit. I'm not playing this shit. That was it. Apparently I completely quit. I never went back to it. Special shout out to YouTubers talking shit about me in vlog videos, apparently yesterday and today, calling me a rage quitter when I've never rage quit ever in my entirety of existence on YouTube.
Never rage quit ever in my entire existence on YouTube. Say it isn't so. Snort.
Once rage quit ever, but apparently people think I'm a rage quitter. Yeah, look, these X5
Yeah, I wonder where they got that notion from.
X6 incomplete. X2. Yeah.
Oh shit, you're watching Quarter Pounder? What's that? Ninja destroys Alinity. Oh, you're still watching Quarter Pounder, even though he didn't even shout you back out. Imagine that.
And this is how you don't play, of course, you're a fucking idiot.
It's very salty, but it also has this like sour flavor to it. It does.
And Ninja destroys Alinity. Sounds like a great video. Fucking don't watch that shit. Okay.
He's Quarter Pounders in his recommended videos a couple times. What the fuck are you talking about? Of course he watched it. That's how he's keeping up with the drama. Outside of Twitter. The drama.
Well, that was a rage quit. One of my old school rage quits.
A rage quit is a rage quit. Don't sit there and try to change that shit up. Try to make yourself look good. Oh, one of my old school rage quits. No. You're a quitter, and that's the history of it. I'm surprised you didn't preface that video before you decided to watch it.
By the way, can we please have the mods take an eye at the stream chat? There's people in there saying disgusting stuff, and I don't want to have to stop my stream constantly to moderate. I would ask, I know there's a few mods here, please give a look. Right now I'm staring at someone insulting my wife.
If you're staring right at it, then take care of it yourself, bitch. Clean up your own mess. You want another man to defend your woman?
It would be nice if someone could take care of that rather than me. Thank you, please. Someone. Anyone? Hello? Hello? McFly? Hello? Bueller? Is no one here? There were mods earlier. I know for a fact there were mods here earlier. Oh my god. Do I really have to stop my whole fucking stream to do this myself? Well, everyone, hold on. Actually, I can't find.
Good on the mods to not show up for this bullshit, or to just not give a fuck and be like, "Yeah, I'm not gonna do all this shit." You know what I'm saying? Well, Tevin was restreaming this, wasn't he? See, they were over there. They had a tab open for Phil's stream, but they're over there laughing and enjoying themselves over there with Tevin and those guys over there. So good shit on their part. What an idiot. Oh my god, literally begging for mods to do something. Amazing.
Yeah, I can't find it now. Well, I guess I'll have to keep an eye on chat myself.
I didn't even know you could be this lazy.
I gave all these away. Over the years, I used to do the giveaways I would do near the end of the year. So over the course of the year, I would buy all the collector's editions. And then in the end of the year, for 2 or 3 months, once a week, I would give away a collector's edition to a viewer. So all this shit that I bought, I ended up giving away. I don't have any of it anymore.
And he actually thought he should be praised for that. Like, he doesn't see anything wrong in giving away an empty box. Ain't that crazy? Or an empty collector set. Oh, well, you know, the game, I went ahead and I played it, and I took it back to GameStop and ended up getting a bunch in store credit, because obviously you trading it in, you probably weren't going to get jack shit. But getting a bunch back in store credit, which if I remember correctly, he still has money in store credit at his local GameStop. And the reason why I say that, I need you guys to kind of dig deep on this one, is do you guys remember when he bought ARMS for the Switch? And he went over there because he was still picking up, he was still occasionally driving to go and get games at that time. And he went over there and he was like, yeah, I want to get ARMS and this, that, and the third. I think he already pre-ordered it. But he didn't know that he had all this credit, like all this game credit that he had racked up, like a lot of it. So when he bought ARMS, I think he bought a couple other games, and I think he bought some peripherals too, on top of that when he purchased it. Because he had all this money racked up. Like, he didn't go exactly into how much, but he must have had a couple $100s, if not a few $100s, racked up over there and had no clue about it. It makes you wonder. I doubt Phil spent all of it that day, so it makes me wonder how much is there. But then, let's think about this. Do you guys remember when Kat got there and they went to go and get her a PS4 Pro? That same PS4 Pro that they bought out of GameStop that he said Kat used her income tax money to purchase? Hypothetical pignosis, as well as not exactly a theory. Run with me on this. What if Phil actually used whatever store credit he had on top of she throwing in, I mean, shit, maybe $60, if that, depending on how many games she bought that day. And that's actually how they got her PS4 Pro. Off store credit that he was already sitting on and he wasn't doing anything with, because he started buying a lot of his games digitally, or people were sending him game codes. Something about.
What? What?
No, you're kidding me.
Here we go.
He's running around with his balls cupped in his hands. Are you serious? He can still squat? He can crawl? Oh my god!
Kojima humor right
Look
here.
at this. Look at this. Oh, hold on. Watch this. We're gonna get a nice taint shot, ready? Oh yeah, look at that. Look at that shot. Oh no. This is kind of ridiculous. This is a locked door. A sink?
Oh my god. Kojima humor.
Oh my god! No!
Yes.
No,
Yes.
I didn't just do that. Woo! Look at my taint! Look at my taint! Ooh, my taint! Look at my taint! My name is Rydan! Look at my taint!
Oh my god.
His butthole is fucking taint! His
Oh.
balls are cupped in his hands!
How could you possibly hate my first original, unedited playthrough of Metal Gear Solid 2? How could you hate it?
Be mature adults. Be mature adults. Don't do any crazy stuff. Act your age, okay? Act mature.
Take him the balls, take him the balls.
Now, here's the thing. And Tevin's the one who coined this. So praise be. If at the end of Phil's story arc, like at the very end of his anime, of his manga, if you will, if he does come out to be gay, so be it. And that's cool and everything. It's going to be funny though. And people like me are still going to slam him because he spent all these years trying to hide from it. That's really what it's going to come down to. If that's really how he feels, if that's really his sexual orientation, then cool. The fact that you hid it, or you were trying to hide it in such a pathetic manner all these years, is just, it's just really sad. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's really, really sad. You know? And I understand he's stuck in his, like, 1980s mentality where, you know, people were still wrestling with it, or they had a hard time coming to terms with it, or whatever the case may be. So be it. But he's really going to get shitted on because he was hiding it for all these years is really what it's going to come down to. Because Jesus Christ, he was in full Looney Tunes mode there. That was, I had never seen that before, but that was absolutely unnecessary. Absolutely unnecessary. And he always has the wildest reactions when it's a dude that's naked. It's really, really, really strange.
I had to kick him in the balls 3 times. He fell in the water and drowned. Santa can't swim.
That was an actual major boss fight in the game. That was a major boss. He just kicked him in the balls 3 times and he drowned. I couldn't pay any. I was laughing so hard. Yeah, I paid no attention to any of this. I didn't follow the plot. I just
Loaded my holly jolly jingle bells. Oh.
Oh my god. This is so stupid.
Oh my god, I kicked him right in the jingle bells.
I'm still laughing.
This shit was hilarious. I just kicked him in the balls.
Oh my god, I'm still laughing at this.
What is this?
Oh, what the fuck? What is that?
This is disgusting. He's fucking me. He's fucking me.
What the fuck?
Oh my god.
Street Fighter.
Point taken. Wow.
Fish.
Fish just jumped on my chest. Oh, this is like S&M shit. What is happening here?
What the fuck?
What the hell?
What the fuck was that?
I mean, despite the fact it's 2 men fucking butt fucking each other, what's with the fish jumping onto their chest and trying to French kiss them?
Yeah, look at
What
the
were they
fish's
thinking
tongue.
when they even enabled this
Watch
kind
this.
of shit to be made in Little Big Planet 2's
Look at
level?
You're not a very mature adult. I'm doing my best to improve. Phil has indoctrinated children who send him money, blatantly milking for money. It's a money pit. It's gone.
That, absolutely exceptional at the end there. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go into, holy shit. We're going to go into video 2 of this segment, and that'll round us up, and that'll be pretty much the end of that. I'll see you guys in just a second. Oh my god, this guy was a nut. This guy was a nut. Wow. I don't even know if something like that could get you banned off Twitch, but it would certainly get him absolutely obliterated in Detractor circles. Wow. Like I said, the concept of him sandbagging his content isn't that far off. Or it isn't that far-fetched, I should say. Anywho.
Just gone like that. In an instant. Fucking gone. I just care about money. That I just can't help it. I eBay. Contributions are mandatory, but I need your help. I am appealing directly to you.
This is how I play the game! Oh my god! What the fuck?
Holy shit! That is an epic fucking intro, dude.
And I have to warn everyone, warning, what you may see right now is going to be absolutely disgusting.
Sound good?
Alright, that's... sounds good to me.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we're here with the second and last video to round out our broadcast. Also brought to us by Burnell. DSP. Drama Queen strikes again. Disgusting allegations against the FGC. This is from July 2nd of 2020, our current year of gout. Ugh. Let's get it.
Vest streak continues. Yesterday, during the special retrospective event, we more than doubled the tips goal. So I counted it as a two vest streak day, just like I told you guys I would. So we're up to 162. Even though there was only one stream yesterday, I counted it as a double vest streak for the streak's purposes. We're up to 162, which is awesome. Thank you everyone for your support and continuing on the vest streak. If the vest streak continues, first of all, thank you again. It's pretty awesome that it is. I can't believe it's still going to this day, the vest streak. If it continues, it hits 200. I've got some special plans for 200.
Wow.
He actually really doesn't. Like, he's, even to now as I'm talking, he's still trying to formulate ideas, or he's trying to basically take other people's ideas. And it wasn't until, just recent, when he actually said he invested $50 to buy a couple of items for that set vest streak. Even though a couple days before that, he said, oh, well, looks like the vest streak's going to end tonight. Good thing I didn't waste any money on this. You know what I'm saying? I'd have felt stupid. What? You've made over $17,000 and you would have felt stupid spending $50 on something that didn't happen? When in actuality, you could have just used that $50 you spent, or whatever amount, to celebrate, okay, we made it this far into the vest streak. We can have a small celebration out of this. It may have not have been 200, but we can get there next time. I'm happy with what we've made here. No, Phil Burnell can't do that. Phil Burnell wants to go ahead and rub that in their face and shit on them because they're not good enough to hit the 200 vest streak. Despite the fact that he's been saying since damn near the beginning of this vest streak bullshit that he didn't think it was going to go that long or they were going to make it that far anyway. Imagine that. Dspnews?
Overnight, basically the internet exploded with crazy amounts of allegations against people in particular in the fighting game community. Allegations of sexual misconduct and allegations of pedophilia. It's like, Jesus Christ, really? Not good. Insanely bad. Terrible shit stuff that I don't like to read about. In particular, this seems to be majorly affecting the Smash Brothers community, where it's come out that people who've been competitive Smash players, at various parties and occurrences, basically doing really nasty stuff. I don't even really want to
and it's not just the men in the Smash Brother community too, but it's the women also. Yikes! You got a 24-year-old chick literally in sexual liaisons with a 14-year-old. Yeah, goddamn. And then apparently Hungry Box has some allegations of maybe sexual harassment. No, it doesn't seem like it's with a minor, at least I hope it's not. But he has an allegation or an alleged allegation against him. Fuck. If Nintendo, I'll say this much. If Smash or the Brawl community or whatever ever was hoping for Nintendo to come and finally see the worth or the value in competitive Smash or competitive Brawl and actually support it, they can take that shit to divorce court now. You can take that shit to divorce court now. That's definitely not happening. Ever. But the thing that kind of has me a little bit worried, but I don't think I have to be worried, because Mighty Keith's content is like, it's gaming in general, so he doesn't have to worry about if this comes off or not. It's like Mighty Keith and the Keith crew. Like, those guys have been he's just a really funny guy. His friends are really funny. They talk about a lot of stuff that has to do with the FGC, but certainly the Smash community, because I guess that's how all those guys met, or that's one of their common bonds or whatever. And they've always been really funny. They've always been super fucking hilarious. And for the fact that those guys have been, have been putting a lot of spotlight on the Brawl community and the Smash community, and in a positive way, kind of like they're like the Maximilians, if you will, or Mighty Keith could be considered the Maximilian of the Smash community, but I don't want to call him Maximilian because he is his own person. But you know what I mean? For him to have done all that work for all them years and shit, and then the whole Smash community is corrupted like that, fucking A, bro. That shit's done. That shit is done. Nintendo from now on is definitely never going to sponsor that. Well, I don't want to say definitely, but I wouldn't think they'd want to sponsor a major Smash community community event or tournament, knowing that shit is rife with fucking pedos. Like, you know what I'm saying? Or just all kinds of sexual misappropriation. I don't think that's ever going to be a thing. That sucks. That sucks. But then again, let's be honest. The Smash and Brawl community never really conducted and or ingratiated themselves in such a way to where they could ever have been taken seriously. I don't want to be a complete total dick about it, but I will say that one finals, that one grand finals that was all Bayonettas, and both of those guys sat up there like ass clowns and literally tried to throw the match, and then an administrator had to come down from Evo and be like on stage, which is an embarrassment to that guy as well, and has to come up there and be like, hey, quit your bullshit and actually get to the goddamn match. That right there definitely didn't help him. It didn't help them when you had high-ranking Smash and Brawl players being like, oh, we should have a little area sectioned off for ourselves, away from like the crowd and the audience and shit, so we can just kind of like sit down and relax and chill. What? The FGC, DSPism. What? The regular fighting game community don't have that, and they're leaps and bounds above all of you guys. And you guys think you can go ahead and come into Evo and come into the FGC community and make demands, and you thought you were going to get it, and then got mad that you didn't get it, and then got even more mad that you got shitted on for it? Let alone some of your top players are on stream drunk most of the time? Sloppy? I mean, it's semantics. What I will say is I feel like a lot like with DSP in a lot of ways, the Smash and Brawl community kind of fucked itself, or it hindered itself on why it wasn't taken seriously. I don't think Nintendo was ever going to fully support them, but prior to all this bullshit currently going on, they did a lot to kind of fuck themselves over. And don't get it twisted, the FGC didn't have to let them in. Not to say that that Smash needed to be let in per se. They could have handled shit on their own. They could have came together and actually given itself some prominence or whatnot, but they needed the FGC to give them legitimacy. And look at what they did with it. Just go to show. Maybe some of the people at Nintendo saw something we didn't. Something to think about.
Talk about it. It's fucked up, you know?
And Phil's the lolcow of the gaming community.
And it's bad, because apparently it's not just one, it's not just two. It's like a big group of people in the competitive Smash community who are affected by this. And a lot of people are like, well, they're done. They're canceled. You know what I mean? Now, that in particular, do I have any experience in the competitive Smash community? Not really. I've watched it. You know, I've attended Evos. I've watched competitive Smash gameplay. I don't know the players. I don't know the situations. It's just horrible to hear this shit come out like that. Like, oh my god.
I don't want to be the guy that every day is embroiled in internet drama and controversy. I'm so past it. And I'm absolutely sure that there's ways that I could spend my time to make tons more money.
And then one that sadly really resonated with me, because it has nothing to do with the Smash community, alright? But someone who I've had dealings with many, many times over the years, as part of the West Coast competitive fighting game community organization staff, including EVO and other West Coast tournaments, and a guy who also attended other tournaments that I've been to, Mr. Wizard, who is known as the CEO of EVO, accused of some pretty heinous shit. In a nutshell, apparently at an arcade called Sunnyvale Golfland that I'm very well aware of because I went there once as a kid. It was known as the West Coast Arcade in California, where all the top players came from. They all kind of played there. And this is where most of the major American competitive players played and trained, okay? So apparently, back in the day, we're talking, you know, some 20 years ago, Mr. Wizard was a local there, and apparently, the allegations are stating that he basically paid or bribed underage kids, boys, to get into their underwear and jump into the wading pools of the golf course. He thought it was funny. Now to be clear, apparently back then what they're saying is, as I've told you guys many times, the arcade culture was very much a boys club hazing kind of a deal. It was almost like college behavior, okay? Where anything went. At one point when I was in an arcade, a guy who was a local player picked me up. I'm not even kidding. I was a young teenager. This guy was probably in his 20s, and he was a big muscular guy. Picked me up, spun me upside down, and pretended like he was going to do a spinning pile driver to me. Physically. In the arcade.
Wait, so some guy picked you up, stuck your head basically into his balls, and then pretended that he was going to spinning pile drive you into the floor, and you did nothing about that? I don't want to make implications about anything, Phil, even though we just kind of had a laugh at what may or may not be your sexual orientation, or at least the fact that you're trying to hide it. But you let another man... Now, wait a second. No. Let's semantics. Let's keep going. You let another man pick you up. You let another man pick you up, drive your head into his crotch, and then act like he was going to spinning power drive you into the ground. I'm going to let you guys wrestle with that. I'm going to let you guys wrestle with that for a little bit.
That was delicious. Oh, that was so good, man.
I can tell you right now, I've heard some rumors or stories of people doing weird shit in hotel rooms to each other. You know, some of it sexual, gross shit. And you're like, was it true or not? I don't know. I don't fucking care. I'm not involved in that shit. You know, I never in my career as a fighting game player, I never got involved in any weird shit. That was not what it was about for me.
You getting power drived, you almost being spinning power drived in an arcade wouldn't be considered some weird shit. It's not like someone put him in the figure four leg lock, or a sharpshooter, or a Boston Crab, or some shit. You know what I'm saying? You let another man physically pick you up and impose his will on you, essentially. All right, Phil. Okay. Was this in my FGC video that I did not too long ago, or was this the day before? Oh, this was probably the day before nonsense. Here, give me just a second, because now they have like the way the members over here at GTG Network and Productions have this set up. Let's see, what are the next few videos? I actually kind of like it. It's kind of clean, actually. Yeah, because he talked about it on the 2nd, which is where we're at now, and then he talks about it again on the 3rd. Yeah, he started getting into it on the 3rd. Okay, gotcha. Oh, so I missed all this good shit by a day. Oh, that's hurtful. That's hurtful.
You don't want to be butt fucked. Trust me.
The story is that this person, when they were underage, they're Asian, and the joke is, you know, again,
they're underage and they're Asian. Jesus Christ, Phil, let this shit go. Evo 2005 is gone. That was 15 years ago. Stop. For the love of God, stop. Okay? You hate Asians. We get it. Asian GTG thinks that shit's funny as fuck. But you hate Asians. Okay, fair enough. You hate black people. Fair enough. You hate basically everybody who's not Italian. Fair enough. Let that shit go. Let it go. The fact that that kid's Asian or not means not a goddamn thing to anything. But really, Phil, you had to go ahead and throw that one little dig in? You had to do that, Phil? Jesus Christ, man. That's special.
Disgusting locker room joke talk, right? That Asians have small dicks, right? I wouldn't fucking know, nor do I care. But that's just a stupid talk thing that people talk about. And apparently the rumor is that, I guess Mr. Wizard challenged this kid who was underage at the time to show him his dick to prove that he wasn't, like, a small dick guy or something. Think how stupid this sounds, right? And so apparently there was some shenanigans going on. They even said that there was a hole that was drilled inside of the stall at Sunnyvale Golfland where people would look at each other in the stalls and shit. Fucked up, disgusting stuff. And apparently in this case, this kid was paid to show Mr. Wizard his dick to prove how big he was. And the kid didn't know any better. He's like, oh, I'm getting free money. I don't care. But think about how disgusting that is, right?
Yes.
All I can tell you is my perspective and my experiences with Mr. Wizard as a person. Alright? Very, very hit or miss. First of all, everyone knew in this fighting community that he was gay, and no one cared. No one gave a shit that Mr. Wizard was gay.
That part is actually true. That was kind of like no one ever like brought it out or anything, but like it was kind of like one of the, what's the word for it? It's not even. I mean, the way they make it sound like on the boards, it wasn't even a secret. It was just like everybody knew. You know what I'm saying? You know, it was just whatever. No, like no one gave a shit, if you will. So it's not like, so Phil, if this is you trying to do some projection or whatnot, no one gives a fuck, buddy. It is what it is. If you hide it and be weird about it, then people are going to poke at it. But other than that, no one really gave a shit.
You know, for me, I never gave a shit what anyone's sexual orientation was in the fighting game community. In fact, I was friends with several gay Street Fighter players. They were,
just like you were friends with several black people too, right? I'm just throwing it out there. Just, it is what it is.
We knew they were gay. We didn't care. The Street Fighter community was not about that. It was about everyone was welcome.
Oh, I'm gay. I forgot to tell you.
Now, not to say that there aren't people out there who were biased against that and were disgusting about it. There were, absolutely. But
so it went from everybody didn't care, we all knew, no one cared, to now, oh, there was people though that had a problem with it. Okay, Phil. The devil's in the details, but okay, Phil.
Personally, never had a problem with anyone in the fighting game community. I didn't give a shit what your sexual orientation was. What does that have to do with your skill level in fighting games, right? But, in particular with Mr. Wizard, there was always something that I questioned. And no one could ever really answer this for me. I'm sure people who are West Coast can answer these questions. Because I was East Coast. I grew up in Connecticut. I played with players from New York, New Jersey, that area. I wasn't super familiar with the popular guys in the fighting game communities. At all. So, I didn't know much about Mr. Wizard outside the fact that he was always involved with fighting game tournaments and running fighting game tournaments that were West Coast oriented, and he would also travel with West Coast players and attend other tournaments as well. Okay? But the thing that gets me is when you're part of this fighting game community and you're traveling, you're doing all this stuff, it's usually because you're a competitive player, right? To my knowledge, Mr. Wizard was never a competitive player. He loved fighting games. He obviously...
Wait, see, this right here is the same bullshit he tried to pull on Triforce when he said, you're not a player, or I think he said, you're not an FGC player, you don't play Third Strike, you have no right to be here. This is Phil doing that same dumb shit. As I've said before, there have been plenty of people in the FGC who were bankrollers. There were people who paid to get very, very talented players from one tournament to another, made a lot of their money back in money matches on those same players, so on and so forth. There are people who showed up to tournaments because they went to support their friends. They went because they liked the atmosphere. A lot of those things. So who the fuck is Dark Side Phil, who was a mediocre player at best, have the nerve to sit there and say, why the fuck is he here? He don't play. But you said he runs tournaments though, right? Which means tournament organizers may have been like, hey, would you consider coming out here, giving us some pointers, giving us some ideas? When they started the Evo, point system, right? Mr. Wiz had to travel around to some of those tournaments, Final Round and some of those other tournaments like that, Civil War, stuff like that, because the way the point system was set up, having Mr. Wiz there, at least for some of those tournaments, to kind of reaffirm how this is going to work, how the points are set up, so on and so forth, was a thing. And even before that, when they were trying to figure out what tournaments would qualify for, that kind of evil point system, obviously Mr. Wiz is going to want to go out there, see these tournaments, if he hasn't been to one before, to be like, okay, I think this, you can get in, you can't, because not every tournament qualified for that. Not every tournament qualified for the Evo point system at all. So that right there would make a whole lot of sense in its own right. But who says he's not allowed to go to a tournament, ladies and gentlemen? Whether he's playing or not. You're not considered one of the best tournament players in the nation, Dark Side Phil, DSP, Dark Geppetto, and yet you were allowed to go to Evo. And that's more important than pretty much all tournaments, to be honest. And yet you were allowed to go. Who the fuck is he to question shit like this? This is just a pathetic attempt to get back at a bunch of people for 20 years worth of bullshit. That's exactly what this is. This is sad. This is sad that he chose to LARP on this shit for this long. Because that's literally what it is. He's fucking LARPing on that shit. Because he didn't get his way, because he thought he should have been looked at as a more respectable player like other people were, and he wasn't nearly as good as those people. Oh well. Live with it. Deal with it. You're a loser. You're a failure. So on and so forth. It's the reality, buddy.
With all the top players from Sunnyvale Golfland, but this guy was never a competitor. Ever. I mean, I don't think it would be a rarity if you ever look at a tournament result and you find Mr. Wizard was a top-ranked guy. It just seemed to me like...
so wait a second. So he did actually play. He just wasn't very good. Sorry, Phil, you just said just a minute ago that he doesn't even play games. Now you're saying, oh, he's not a top ranked guy now. Devil's in the details.
He was the friend of the top players. And he would run the tournaments and he would travel with them, but I don't know if he ever aspired to be a competitive player. And
why would he need to? You can it's actually very lucrative. Well, it can be lucrative, I should say. To just run tournaments and be a TO. You don't have to do that. Jesus Christ, Phil, he's the CEO, he was the CEO of fucking SRK. Why the fuck would he need to be a player at that point? Who has time to do that? Womp womp.
In reality, a lot of people questioned that. They said, why is this guy always part of the community? Why is he always running the tournaments? Why is he always
projection
involved in everything Street Fighter when this guy is not a top player? Like, who is he? And the answer you always got was, well, he's a friend of the top players from Sunnyvale Golfland, and he's like, accepted by them as part of the community, despite the fact that he's not a top player. So you just got to put up with the guy. If you don't like him, you just got to put up with him.
He was the one. He was basically like the manager, or he eventually became the manager of Sunnydale, something like that. He was an influential figure at the Sunnydale Golf Arcade thing. And on top of that, I think they had machines that were donated from there. If it wasn't for him, they may have not been able to get them. Well, as well as others, don't get me wrong, but you know what I mean. So that on its own gives him a level of something because he's the one that's making sure the machines get out there. And him, like Mike Watson, they actually knew how to work on machines, I believe. So they were the guys who did a lot of the tinkering and stuff like that. So that right there has value because those are skills. Or those are abilities and or parts of influence that mean something. That can get shit done. And Phil's sitting there saying, oh, other people thought this. Who are those other people? Name them. It's been 20 years and he's been outed as, and allegedly, as a pedo. So name some of these other people who allegedly felt like, well, who is he and why is he here? Name them, if that's the case. I mean, Phil's talking about this like this shit is fresh in his mind like this was 15 or 20 years ago. You would think he'd be able to throw a name or two out there. Right? Right? Right.
Okay? And that was the answer you always got.
It sucks.
Now, do I believe the allegations? It's tough to say. Here's the thing. The person that has come out with this story about Mr. Wizard has literally nothing to lose or gain by telling this story. This person is not a known competitive fighting game player anymore. Like, back in the day, they were known for being like a player at Sunnyvale Golfland. They were known in IRC chats, for being a Street Fighter.
You're really fence sitting on this? Oh, fuck, I wish I had this when I did my initial video. You're still fence sitting on this. But yet you say how distrustful, but yet you project and assess in a lot of ways that we shouldn't trust the Cannon brothers because they were harboring Mr. Wiz and Mr. Wiz was doing all these things. But right here, you're saying you're kind of on the fence whether you actually believe it or not. And then you said that the guy who came out making these allegations was a friend of yours who you used to troll with in IRC chat. But now you're saying it's some guy. I might be jumping the gun a little bit, but he's some guy who has nothing to gain and nothing to lose by this. Keep that in mind.
And a Street Fighter troll or whatever, they were part of the community. At this point, there's nothing. What would they possibly have to gain? With this story, nothing. So the fact that they came out, I have to believe them. I do. I believe this person. I do. I absolutely believe them. Now, maybe it is bullshit. In which case, I'm like, I don't know.
Suck my ass.
That's funny, because if you hear, he's not actually directly associating himself with this individual. He's not doing that yet. He must have waited a day or two before he decided to feel confident enough to do that. But he's just saying, oh, he's some dude who trolled in the FGC. He's not actually saying, I know this guy, I was cool with him, and we used to troll the FGC. He's not saying that right here. He said that the next day. I think. Let's see.
Yeah. Suck it. Suck right on my sphincter. Get a nice big hearty turd right down your throat. Enjoy.
Yeah, that sounds like someone who's well adjusted, doesn't it, ladies and gentlemen?
Suck it, baby. Suck it.
It's not, if the allegations against the FGC is true, just because Phil left the FGC doesn't mean the FGC completely left him.
Anyway, if it's a fucked up situation. Now people are like, is this the end of Evo? Well,
Phil's been preaching the end of Evo since this whole COVID-19 thing, so womp womp. Just like with E3, by the way. Even though now he's like, well, you know, maybe E3 comes back next year.
because if this guy, if Mr. Wizard is the CEO of fucking Evo, they put him in charge, right? They put him in charge. And now he's the one who's accused of this heinous stuff. What happens to Evo? Now, of course, the other big story this morning is something that I have no idea about.
Evo just changes leadership. Like any other corporation that's had a fucking scandal of any type. The CEO gets quote unquote ousted, which really means, okay, you're gonna take this huge severance package, you're gonna fuck off. With the ability to sell your shares in a couple years, and then we bring somebody else in. Womp womp.
I guess there was a popular streamer named Reckful who has passed away. Apparently took his own life. I don't know anything about the situation because I don't know the person. As you guys know, I don't really follow other streamers that much.
So you're going to pull another Etika situation with this? Is that what we're going to do?
Apparently this guy was well known and a big prominent streamer. And if that's the case, which it seems to be, because other prominent streamers are coming out and saying, you know, it's true, well, then rest in peace to this person. I cannot speak to it whatsoever because I have zero knowledge of the person. It would be pretty disingenuous for me to try to say anything about them. But people are talking about it in my stream chat, wondering, well, how do you
like Etika?
feel about it? I have no feelings on it because I don't know the person. I can't say a single word about it. And it would be inappropriate for me to do so. Okay?
Like Etika.
I have no feelings. What is it? I think it's called being a sociopath.
Ponage 101 to me $2.36. Says, here's my contribution for today's vest streak. If only 98 others would tip $1 instead of bitching and complaining. Yeah, well, Ponage, what you gotta realize is something here. The people who sit in the chat and talk about the streak most are actually people who never contribute to the streak. It's just true. These are people who are here just for drama purposes. So they sit here and they'll spam my stream chat about the streak, but they'll never contribute to the streak. Because they're not...
Then put the chat in sub-only mode then. And then see who donates and who don't. Right? Right? Right. Someone with some common sense would do that. But he keeps the chat open because, one, it'd be dead if he put it in sub-only mode. And two, he has the hope that someone who isn't actually who isn't subbed to him might throw him a couple bucks. Still talks all about dollars, but still chasing cents. Imagine that.
Here to contribute. They're here to be the peanut gallery, to screech about it constantly, but not to actually make it happen. And I understand that, you know. I'm not gonna ban people or whatever for that unless they just completely derail the stream. Which I've said multiple times over the last week. I'm not allowing that to happen. If people come in here and are gonna say, streak, gotta hit the streak, gotta wear the vest, gotta wear the streak, they're gonna get timed out and then banned. It's derailing the streak. There are people on here who want to talk to me and have fun and not have it be all about the streak constantly. And I don't want the stream to be all about it.
I thought the vest streak was fun and positive. Were we lied to, ladies and gentlemen? Might have been.
You gotta follow the rules, you know? So there you go.
My dick is annoying. Being a dude with balls and a dick can be annoying. I don't want this. What is this bullshit?
Well, then you should be okay with Last of Us 2 more than Never mind. Never mind.
Alice, tell Levon Cheers, if you were asked to run the Street Fighter brackets at EVO against a decent pay, would you?
Obviously.
Would I become a professional tournament organizer and runner? Let me put it this way, I could do it. But I would never be...
He couldn't. To be honest, he really, really couldn't. The reason why is because Phil is resentful. And because of that, anybody who still plays currently, he would literally try to fuck them in, he would fuck them in pools. No, sorry. Pools or whatever. He would fuck them in brackets. No, you can actually still screw people up in pools, actually. Especially if the numbers are big enough. You can definitely drown somebody in pools. Yeah, you can drown somebody in pools. But he would definitely fuck over people in brackets. Like people who he really feels that he really holds some resentfulness to, I should say. My apologies on that. He could definitely fuck people over in brackets, and he probably would too. And you got him in a position of influence, a position of power. You're telling me you don't think he'd flex that and whatnot, and say tough shit to people and this, that, and the third? Hey, we already got your money, dummy. Either you play where I tell you when I tell you, or fuck off. I'll go ahead and boot you out of the tournament. You telling me Phil wouldn't do that? You telling me Phil wouldn't abuse that? Think about it. He couldn't do it. He really couldn't. And you really think he's going to be able to run a bracket with 250 plus people? No, not at all. Pools are already a nightmare. But once you start getting into bracket placement, and you got to make sure, and you have to really take into account that, okay, make sure each side is even. Make sure that you don't have people from the same city and whatnot, because that is something that they really try to make sure that they don't put too many people up against. Make sure they're maybe not from the state. I guess state may not matter, but I know definitely not from the same city, and so on and so forth. And just making sure that the brackets are even. Yeah, nah. And make sure the brackets make sense to some degree, and that it flows. And the reason why, and another thing is too, is what happens with people who are playing multiple games, for example. That's something I didn't bring up in my FGC video. He talked about favoritism a lot. He doesn't realize, because Phil only plays Street Fighter and that's it, there are people who play multiple games. And so, let's say, for example, I'll use Justin because he's a good example. Let's say Justin is playing CVS 2, Third Strike, and Marvel 2. All those tournaments are going on currently. Hey, Justin, hey, we need Justin Wong at CVS 2. Hey, man, he's in a match right now. He's playing Third Strike. Okay, no problem. We'll move on to the next person. Justin could easily be floated through 2 spots, if not 3, given the situation, just because he's playing multiple games, which is a right that he has. And so now you have to make sure you keep track of that. And then that's why the whole, at least back then, that's why the wild card spot existed, essentially. Because if you have people who are in a situation where, okay, we need to float you for a little while, you're going to probably need to float one of his opponents too, just to keep the bracket in order. It happens quite a bit. So, something to think about.
Able to do it. Because of who I am, there would be far too much controversy involved, and the moment I touched the bracket, people would be yelling and screaming and complaining that there was, rigging and shit.
No one would trust him. Good job, Phil. I appreciate you being honest about that. Because he's right. No one would trust Darkside Phil to run a bracket. Because he has too much pent-up frustration and resentment towards people. No one would ever trust him. And I would hate to see what he would do to foreign players. I would hate to see how he would run foreign players. You know what I'm saying? Your infiltrations, your taquitos, guys like that, your Momochis still playing and whatnot. He'd fuck all of them over the bracket if he could. He'd fuck all those dudes over the bracket if he could. Because that's just what kind of resentful piece of shit he is. The fact that he was honest with that proves my point.
I would never do that. I was actually the complete and polar opposite. I never did any kind of favoritistic treatment whatsoever when I ran tournaments. Not once. If you were not there on time for your match, you are disqualified. I don't want your excuses. I don't care if you're a prominent player. You can fuck off. You're not getting prominent.
And that goes back to what I just told you where, hey, he's already playing a game. Oh, well. And Phil would be the type of ass clown to do that. And tournament organizers aren't going to let that happen. You know what I'm saying? Or if the guy stepped out for a phone call, or if he stepped out to the food court or whatever, and he let somebody know in the brackets already, who's running the brackets, hey, man, when's my next match? Oh, well, there's like 2 or 3 people ahead of you. Okay, I'm going to step over here for a minute. Can you give me like 5 extra minutes or 10 extra minutes just in case? All right, no problem. Go ahead. Because then they can just put another match in its place. Phil's saying, oh, you don't get any of that. You don't get, and that's something that can be given to the regular players. You know what I'm saying? Not even top players. Regular players can get that. All you have to do is ask. All you have to do is let somebody know.
Treatment. Right? If you don't want to play someone in your bracket and you're begging me to get a float, tough shit. Tough shit. I don't care. The game is the game. The brackets are the brackets. There's no special rules for certain players. That's how it always was with me when I ran tournaments.
But then it's funny because the next day he gets mad at them West Coast boys because when he was going over to those West Coast tournaments, he was mad that he wasn't getting the type of treatment that they were getting. Or this is one of my smoking guns in that video was it is unfair to have 2 prominent players play against each other early in the brackets. You're not allowed to that shouldn't happen. That should happen later on so it gives people a chance to advance. No, it shouldn't happen that way. No, that shouldn't happen at all. I don't give a fuck how prominent you are. The brackets are the brackets. What you get is what you get. And you're going to play it out or fuck off. I don't give a shit. Right, Phil? Right, Phil? Nah, angry snort. So we're already catching the hypocrisy right here.
really liked that, because to them it was a breath of fresh air from other tournaments they went to, and there was always the same shenanigans of the same top people getting special treatment no matter where they went. Alright, but a lot of people didn't like that because they were the top players or in that inclusive group, who they wanted to be a part of the top player community, and they didn't get that special treatment, and they didn't like me for that.
Projection, that's him talking about how he wasn't getting favorable treatment like other players because he felt like he was right there with him, and guess what? He wasn't.
So, but no, there's no way I could ever run tournaments now. Are you kidding me? With the amount of shit throwing there is all over the internet about me, but I'm not even involved in it. These people just make shit up constantly. Do you really think I'd be able to run a tournament now? Are you out of your mind? It would never happen.
Papa Vera comes out with this giant King Kong strap on. All right, baby, you approved it. Let's do it. Uh-oh. Wait, I meant for you. No. Oh!
Oh no! Oh no! No! Papa Vera!
Oh, fucking shit.
No! Papa Vera!
Ow!
No! Papa Vera!
Ow!
Papa Vera, no!
He's fucking me. Oh! He's fucking me.
What the fuck? I love that. Pain is pleasure. Phil has indoctrinated children who send him money, blatantly milking for money. It's a money pit. It's gone.
Oh boy. Oh boy. I gotta tell you, I have a little bit of regret. That I didn't have that first part. Basically day one of him talking about the FGC bullshit to go along with the day 2 video. I'm thankful for the individuals who clipped that though and made that available to me. I'm kind of regretful. I don't mean to be an asshole. I'm kind of regretful that I didn't have that day 1 though. That would have been nice. I didn't know. Oh well, it still worked out either which way. So, God bless the Snort Report. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for all this. Give me just a second to clean up, and we'll reconvene for final thoughts and let you guys go with your day.
Just gone like that. In an instant. Fucking gone. I just care about money. I just can't help it. I eBay. Contributions are mandatory, but I need your help. I am appealing directly to you.
Excuse me. Oh boy. That Jasper Turkey Bacon Club is getting at me. God damn, dog. You can taste the declawed in every bite. Big ups to the ghost of Jasper on Twitter. I love you, man. Alright, guys. So, oh shit, where do we go for this? The retrospective, like I said, outside of the YouTube part where he talked about how popular he is, that video's coming, so keep up with that. Rest of it was kind of whatever you make of it, to be honest. The no mods thing, hilarious. The drama queen strikes again, of course. The allegation against the FGC. I wish I'd heard that first part. I wish I had all of that condensed, because then it would have flowed. It would have flowed well. But then again, I feel like, I still would have came to my same conclusions, but I don't know. Everything happens for a reason, so it is what it is. But wild shit how fucking hypocritical this asshole is. And I said that in that video, how much of a fucking hypocrite he was about that. And this bullshit projection about, you're not going to get floated in brackets, you're not going to have special treatment because you're a well-known player. All the things that he didn't get, and he was mad that he didn't get it. And then the fence sitting about whether Mr. Wiz was actually guilty or not, or is it possible these things could have happened. The distancing himself from the victim, who the next day he says, I know that kid. You know what I'm saying? I reached out to him on Twitter and said, hey man, it sucks what happened to you. And we were all assholes back in the day, but I respect the fact that you came out and actually said your piece. He ain't saying none of that shit right now. He's not even really telling you that he has any connection to the guy. So, Oh, the devil's in the details. The devil's in the details. But either which way, at least the next video or the video after, we're going to be coming up on that. So it is what it is. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for listening in. I very much appreciate it. And I'll catch you guys for the next one, whenever that may be, hopefully sooner than later. Ladies and gentlemen, this is DSP News. Always late, never breaking. Unreliable coverage that you can't count on. Oh yes, a GTG, Networking Productions for the Snort Report. And Tim Snortins. I've been your host, /anchor, GTG, and I'm signing off. Take care of yourselves, guys. Holy shit! Oh, I wish I had had that earlier. But that should be the next episode, though. Yeah, that should be on the next Snort Report. So we're going to get into that. And whatnot, just in case there was anything that I missed. Because remember, ladies and gentlemen, remember, the devil pork is in the details. I'll catch you guys for the next one. Later, guys.